Two, one. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of ClueCon Weekly. I am your host, Jon Gray, and today I have a guest, Courtney Yatteau, to talk about mathematics, motion, and to bring us back to our math roots. So welcome so much to the podcast.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, good. Well, for those of us who have yet to meet you, can you give us a little background on who Courtney is?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, yes, I'm Courtney Yatteau. I spent 10 years as a computer science and math teacher before I transitioned into my now DevRel role at Esri. I've been doing that for 3 years now. And it's funny because honestly, these days, my job still feels a lot like teaching, just kind of in a different setting, right? So it's like I used to have a classroom and my smartboard, and now it's like developers and the web, the browser.
Yeah.
So it's fun. Yeah. I mean, honestly, in my role, I get to, build small web apps, prototypes. I get to write and record tutorials, speak at conferences, spend a lot of time like listening to what developers are building and then helping them understand like the technology of, what I'm working with as well. So, yeah, I mean, there's so much I could go on through that, but
Yeah.
we'll get into it for sure.
No,
There's lots of different topics.
definitely.
Yeah.
It's cool that we always just kind of get brought back to the classroom, no matter what setting we're kind of in, where we're, learning more about things that we didn't even know existed. And that's why I think this is really unique and cool to kind of bring us back to our math roots. So can you tell us about Math in Motion and kind of like the workshop that you put together?
Yeah, definitely. So basically, the idea behind this talk, it started out with just thinking, how can I connect what I'm doing in web development now, with like mathematical concepts of what, kind of my roots are, right? So I started out taking like classic math ideas and tried to make them feel more physical, really, by animating them with like CSS, JavaScript,
Yeah.
and HTML, of course. So I mean, my goal originally was not anything fancy by any means. It was just kind of, I was drawing on the roots of what my students would kind of struggle with in my, say, I taught all different levels of math, but even like lower level, like Algebra 1, all the way up through, Calculus 2 and statistics, and just trying to see like what usually lives on paper could then be translated, to the web. So, I mean, I like to think of things as structuring an interactive like learning experience. It's so fun to have the experiences with like students, or like even when I'm recording in a tutorial, right? You can change like one input and see immediately what happens, right? That is actually where I kind of found my love for web dev, was that, and especially front end, where you get to see all the changes and things, so it's so visual right away, right? And it helps build that type of like intuition through cause and effect, right?
Yeah. And math is so like abstract that I think it's really easy for people to kind of look at it as like, I don't need it as much. You never really hear anyone saying like, oh, I don't need to learn this like science class or this history class. But you hear that all the time with math. And I'm wondering if that's just because it is so abstract, and if this project kind of brings that a little bit to light, or like, is there anything kind of there?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, there are so many times where I hear it, I heard it in the classroom, I hear it nowadays all the time. Oh, I'm just not a math person, or, I don't understand why I had to take this math to begin with, right? But it's, I think a lot of it comes down to the idea behind, we're taught to see things after like arithmetic and stuff. Once you get up to kind of algebra 1-ish level, you're taught to see things as variables, and you're taught to memorize like rules and things, but you're never really taught to understand fully like the meaning behind everything, right? So having those like visual moments, I think it just helps click, it helps things click in people's brains. There's a fun example, actually, really quick, that I'll share. And it ties to one of the demos that I did in this talk, Math in Motion. It has to do with animating sine waves, right? So, you start out with your unit circle, right? Your basic unit circle in your trig class. And it's so funny how so many adults say to me nowadays, like, I have no idea. I remember the word sine and cosine. I don't know what any of that means really.
Yeah.
But there was an activity I would do every year, and this was a hands-on one that students would use like spaghetti, spaghetti pieces, and then yarn, and that they would use literally like the heights to then represent the curve and the sine wave. So that's where your yarn comes in, right? So it's fun. And so that kind of thing, you know, can be translated using like your HTML canvas on the web. So, you know, with some sliders and things, you know, you can see how the shape of it changes. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
No, I think this is really interesting as well, because with kind of like design, you're really focused on what people see, but in an educational context, it's even more important, like the order in which they see it so that they can kind of progress a little bit longer. How did that kind of play into the role when you were building this workshop and like starting at like an easy level, or did you feel like you had to allocate more resources to like really be like, okay, this is important to get first and then move on to like kind of that? How did that kind of change the way that you looked at design?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely am one to always think start as like simple as possible. So I think, okay, you know, I'm going to start with a very simple concept and try to work up from there, if that makes sense. So actually in the talk, I came up with like a mental model that I found kind of worked for several different demos that I was trying to work through. So not only unit circle, but like, you know, parabolas. I did like a fun map demo, and some other things too. But yeah, so basically this like, there was a mental model that helped me through this process, whether it was a simple example or a bit more involved. But still always kind of coming back to that, start as simple as possible and then maybe continue from there, right? So that model, it's called rapid. So R is for receive, where people get stuck. So that's the first like question, like what is the problem here, right? And then A is for apply the simplest math that still teaches the idea, right? So again, simple. P is for project it visually. And then I is your iteration. So, you know, you're going to have these like different moving parts of whatever type of visualization you're trying to show. It could be, you know, the area under a curve, or it could be like the tangent line with, you know, derivatives and calculus, something like that. Yeah. And then you draw the takeaway. So there's the actual final, you know, visual. And so it's really obvious like what changed and why, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
did you find that there was a lot of like learning that you had to do on the technical or like the coding side of thing? I know that the goal was to like learn these mathematical concepts and get a better visualization with it, but how did like some of those technologies that you used during the workshop, you mentioned like HTML or CSS, there was probably some JavaScript packages in there. What was that process kind of like of finding the right tools kind of for this, and how much of that did you end up having to teach?
Yeah, for sure. So I want to give a general answer to that first. So when I was in the classroom, and even nowadays, anytime that I come across something new and I find interesting, I try to weave it into whatever I'm doing like immediately, or, you know, I write it down and like want to teach about it as quickly as possible. So I was having a lot of fun building this talk and coming across different tools that I hadn't necessarily used before. I will say a lot of it, because my idea was to keep it as simple as possible, I stuck to tried and true, just like DOM elements for very simple like sliders and things.
Yeah.
Uh, but then I did obviously use the canvas, you know, for a bit more interactive visuals. So yeah, but I did end up using Chart.js a bit, which I had used previously as well. But yeah, so it wasn't, I could certainly see expanding so much more with like so many different like data visualization tools, you know, and going even further than what I did initially. This was actually my first time giving this talk when I did at Beer City Code.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I'm actually going to be giving it again in May at JS Tech in Chicago. So that'll be fun. So maybe I'm thinking through it. I'm like, that'd be really cool to integrate even more, you know, interesting libraries and things like that. So,
Yeah.
but again, I was trying to keep it as like straightforward, simple as possible, easiest entry point, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think that's really cool. And when you mentioned like the easiest entry point, obviously someone grasping it and like fully understanding is pretty like fantastic, and as a teacher has to be like one of the best feelings. Do you have
Yeah.
any experiences from this workshop that where you saw either someone be like, oh my gosh, this totally brings me back, and now I'm excited to venture farther through, or maybe that this is like the first time that they saw and now a world of possibilities is kind of open? Were there any situations like that, hopefully?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I did have several people come up and say like, "Wow, this takes me back to when I was learning mathematics, and you showed it in such a way that I actually understand things that I never did," which was
Hmm.
really cool to hear. Yeah, so and I love hearing that because I'm like, "Oh, this takes me back to hearing that from students too." So,
Exactly.
yeah, so definitely that, and then also, I know I had a couple people afterwards who are like, oh, well, my friend works in this kind of industry with educational tooling, and I'm going to show them these cool things that you showed me. So, yeah, just having that kind of cross connection is pretty cool to see too.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I
especially
think. Mhm.
oh, I was just gonna say, when you create something that then actually gets used is like the ultimate like best feeling as well, because you're like,
Oh, yeah.
nothing's worse than the opposite of when you create it and then it just kind of sits there in a GitHub repo for forever and then never gets touched. But then to actually see it in people's hands, and even in the real world, like to have this then transform into a classroom setting would be pretty awesome.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that would be so cool. It's yeah, like you were just saying. I mean, I love it when I'll share some fun demo that I've done on LinkedIn or whatever it is, and someone tags me and is like, "Oh, I was inspired by this." I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome." Like the inspiration is my goal usually, and
Hmm.
when I give a talk or create these fun, apps. So, yeah.
So, what have I yet to ask you about within this talk, either on math, on building, on workshops, anything that you are working on or want to plug for future endeavors?
Yeah, absolutely. So a few things real quick. So, and I know we already briefly talked about like how maybe a developer would think about getting into this. I said my mental
Hmm.
model. But really, I do want to emphasize, when you hear math animations, you might think you need some big framework or whatever, and that's not true, right? I would say if you want to try it, just pick one concept, one visual, maybe one like interaction or something.
Hmm.
And even if it's just like a single slider and something changes on the screen, right? The just that tiny little thing can then spark so much more from there, right? And you've already created some kind of learning tool if you do it at that simplest type of level. Um, yeah. So, and then also, yep, I already mentioned that I get to do this talk again in May. So I'm excited about that. I have a couple of other things. I am currently, because it's February, I am doing FOSSFEB, so free and open source software February. That's actually the fun like hashtag that people will use, around. So I've just been building some fun, tiny open source mini projects. I've really just been using it
Cool.
as an excuse to
Yeah.
try out different libraries. I'm like,
Hmm.
why not? So,
Yeah, we
yeah,
love open
it's been
source.
fun.
Spreading and
Yeah,
sharing the love and good community is definitely the backbone of Free Switch as well as ClueCon. I hope to see you in July or August for ClueCon. What am I saying?
oh
And yeah,
yeah,
to hopefully give
that would
this
be
talk as
awesome.
well, and especially the workshops. We'll link some of the workshops to this episode, and people will hopefully be able to get their hands dirty on this. But Courtney, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Happy coding, everyone.
Definitely.